ANC leader President Cyril Ramaphosa is due to unveil the party's election manifesto on Saturday. As part of events leading up to the day, the ANC president and the party's top brass are in Durban tonight for the manifesto preview event to unveil and reaffirm the ANC's vision and mission for the next 5 years. Let's take you live now to the Inkosi Albert Luthuli International Convention Centre complex in Durban for the ANC president's remarks.
Viva Sanko eseyivukile, viva Malibongwe, row young lions, row forward with the Veterans League, forward with the real MK liberation, iyona i-MK leyo, hayi lezi zinye. National Chairperson, Program Directors, President Joaquim Chissano, former President of Mozambique, who still continues to look younger and younger by the year. Thank you for being amongst us, President Chissano. The national officials of the African National Congress, Deputy President, SG, First Deputy SG, Comrade Nomvula Mokonyane, Second Deputy SG, Comrade Marupini, Treasurer General, Comrade Gwen Ramokhupa, Comrade Solima Paila, General Secretary of the South African Communist Party, the leadership of COSATU, as led by Comrade Zingiswa Losi, and indeed the leadership of the SACP, Comrade Richard Hlophe, and the leadership of SANCO, and of course, the members of the National Executive Committee of the African National Congress. I extend my greetings also to Comrade Siboniso Duma, the provincial chairperson of the African National Congress here in our province. Comrades, tonight has been dubbed the night with the president, but correctly speaking, it has been the night with those who have endorsed the African National Congress. The ANC welcomes and appreciates those who came forward to endorse the manifesto of the African National Congress and those who came forward to bear testimony. As I listened to their stories, it was almost a redefinition of Tintswalo. Maybe I could say it's Tintswalo 2, Tintswalo 3, Tintswalo 4, and I don't know what number I would give to Ugogo, because nae she's also a Tintswalo of some sorts. Comrades, it's been heartwarming, and I truly want to extend our gratitude to all those, yes, Comrade Nomvula, who saw fit to come forward, and many of them came forward of their own volition, to come forward to share their testimony. From yes, Ushachwayo, my sister, from here in KZN, who received assistance from the NYDA. Now, I don't need to put forward the speech that I had crafted, because they have written the speech that I was meant to give. That is the speech that one would have given tonight. We set up the NYDA to empower the young people in our country. And I must tell you that the NYDA, having started in a bit of an uncertain way, has today become a real support base for young people today. And I applaud the leadership of the NYDA that they are empowering young people with skills, they're empowering them with entrepreneurship, and they are helping to create many, many businesses. They are the real Tintswalos. So thank you very much for the work you do. Who would have thought, who amongst us really would ever have thought that we would have a young, short woman like Ukuku to be the train driver? Ushayela istimela esiphelele sama coach a-11 or more. Ehlezi phambili, driving this train. Who would ever have thought? Those of us who grew up during the heydays of apartheid, it was always a white Afrikaner male at the front and another white Afrikaner male at the back, and transporting us, and none of us ever thought we would ever drive a train. Ukuku is driving a train today. Thank you very much. And Makadzi coming from the deep rural areas of Limpopo, Hamashamba, a young woman who till today subscribes to vendor traditions of respect, of greeting in the usual vendor way. Today she's a global big noise in music, produced by this very country. What we have also done in arts and crafts is just amazing. In Jerusalem became a global hit coming from this very country. Namhlanje amapiano, they are danced for even in New York, even in Amsterdam. Our young people are exporting our art forms, they are exporting our culture. And that is a soft power that our young people have embraced and are exporting to the rest of the world. And we as government have decided that we are going to support our artists. We are going to support them and stand behind them and push them forward. Who would have thought that we would have young black women as pilots? I forever remember the story of Archbishop Desmond Tutu, who said that when he was traveling from Ethiopia some years ago, and he got into this plane, Ethiopian Airlines, and he saw black pilots, he almost said, "Please take me out of this plane, because I've never seen black people flying a plane." Today, Naomi from Ramatlabama, the dusty roads of Mahikeng, is today a pilot with 2,500 hours under her belt. And for a pilot to record up to 2,500 hours, it basically means you are good. And she flies the very big jumbo jets. And she's a young black woman who was brought up in the dusty streets of Mafikeng. Ubongega from Mahlabatini, an architect, and today she's an employer. An employer who now relies on invoices that have to be paid, and who now pays other people. That's precisely what this whole revolution was also all about. To ensure that we empower young people, we give them skills so that they can become employers, not just job seekers themselves. Now here she is, she's an employer. And Usimon Chuma, he described precisely what he does. He controls the skies. Young black man, who would ever have thought that we would ever get there? And remember, we were prevented as black people in our country from even getting to these skills. Unontogozo, horticulture, and now she's selling her products all over. Lebohang, poultry farmer, 25 people employed. Usazi, LGBTQI+, A+, and she's very, very proud person and a proud South African. Siyakubongela siswa Muthuli. And this is the real beauty of our transformation and revolution, that we can even get a domestic worker coming to stand here on stage and saying, I am a domestic worker. I am one of those workers, and I have traveled to many countries in the world, and she even knows the conventions of the International Labour Organization. And this has been enabled not only by her union and COSATU, but also by South Africa as a country. And this talks to the change that has happened also in the past 5 years. When people say Nenzeni in the past 5 years, one of the things that we did was to lift 6 million workers' wages. Today, Usisi Thuli is one of those workers today who is earning an appreciating salary every year, no longer relegated to starvation wages. This administration, this ANC government, apart from lifting many millions of South Africans, it has lifted 6 million workers who now earn a better salary. So these are the testimonies that really talk about what the African National Congress has done, not only in the past 30 years, yes, also in the recent period. And when we look at the transformation that the ANC has wrought or brought about in this country, we've got to look at it in totality. The resilience of our people, the way our people have waged struggle to get where they are. In the end, it's not the ANC that must be thanked. It is our people who must be applauded. And we must applaud our people because they are the ones who are their own liberators. And the African National Congress was an enabler. Umbali is a chief navigation officer. She is one of the two who chartered me in the sea. The other day when I came to KZN, I got onto a boat and I suddenly realized that it was a small, tiny woman who was navigating the ship. Umbali has another twin sister of hers, and I asked her whether I had met her. She says, no, you met the other one. They navigate the big ships, huge boats in the sea, and they have traveled the whole around the world. This has been enabled by the African National Congress, armed with a clear aspiration set out in the Freedom Charter. The doors of learning shall be open. And the African National Congress opened the doors of learning that were closed by apartheid. Apartheid had shut those doors. And yes, our people opened those doors today. Mbali is a chief navigation officer. Ugogo Silungeile. I don't know what I can say about you. Mhlambe you are Tinswalo number 10. But the amazing work you do and the way the African National Congress government has enabled the NGO sector to ensure that the NGO sector grows. Today, I'm glad to hear what you employ, 100, 200 people. These are people who work in our communities. This has been enabled by the dispensation that has been ushered by this government. Umangu, I was so proud to hear you, my sister, or is it a brother? No, Umangu is a girl. talking about how proud she is to be rebuilding the railway corridors through the work that PRASA is doing, through the work that our Department of Transport is doing to enable and empower young people. And Mluleki, thank you very much for saying that through the policies that we have adopted, we've saved lives. When we decided as a government to roll out antiretrovirals, it was to follow the policies of the African National Congress. And we are glad that today people with HIV/AIDS are living. They are alive, they are amongst us, and we have stopped a transmission to children as well. So children are born free of HIV, and you are absolutely right that the health system in our country, which is supported by ANC policies, is precisely what our country has needed. Yes, you say you have a pen. I want to look at the type of pen you have to sign the NHI. The NHI will be signed and it will become the law of the country. Bayatanda noma batandi, we are going to have the NHI. My brother Jacob Pinar, yes, you are right, I came to your branch and you were a councillor of the ANC, and I'm glad to hear that after I was there, up to 40 Afrikaners joined the ANC. ANC appeals across racial lines. And yes, you are a true testament to what the ANC stands for. And we are really pleased that you could come here and bear your testimony. There are so many of you who testified today. Kawega Azimene, who is involved who wants to see more economic emancipation. Megan Adonis, visually impaired. I was so proud to see you, my sister. I know that the national chairperson also wanted you to take your glasses off, and you proudly took them off. So thank you very much for being here to come and bear testimony. Yes, we will fast track. We definitely will fast track the white paper because we need to have firm policies on how people with disabilities can be properly and fully empowered. Professor Maiwashe, thank you very much for going to study overseas and coming back to come and support our efforts. My brother Imran Subrati, thank you very much for your powerful message about what this ANC-led government has been able to contribute. And it's a small contribution to support the people of Palestine. And this we were taught by the father of our democracy, Nelson Mandela, who said that our own freedom would not be complete until the freedom of the Palestinians is achieved. And that is the path that we are on. So, comrades, the manifesto was written tonight. What you heard is what the manifesto has been about. And in fact, what was being outlined here was what was set out in the 1994 Manifesto of the African National Congress, which committed our movement and its government to building a better life for all. Our slogan, to build a better life, continues because we are saying, we're living up to what Utatu Madiba said in his book, when he said his long walk to freedom is incomplete. He has scaled hills and he's been to the roof of a hill and he's seen the beautiful vista that is South Africa. But he knows that there are still many hills that he still needs to climb. And that is the journey that the African National Congress and its alliance partners are on. We are on a journey to improve the lives of our people. We were formed 112 years ago to do precisely that. And that is what we have committed to do. We have indeed changed the lives of South Africans. South Africa today is a different country than it was in 1994. Bayatanda, Noma Abatandi. This country is vastly different from what it was in 1994. And of course, they don't want to hear us say that. But you know what? We are going to continue saying it because that is the truth that was being told by these young people who were here. And what we are now committed to doing is to sustain and to defend the gains of our revolution. That is what we now have to do. And when the sixth administration came into office, we said it was time for recovery and to rebuild. And building on the achievements of the preceding 25 years, we set out to address the immediate challenges facing our people, and we've put in place the foundations for sustainable, inclusive growth and job creation. And we've underpinned that by a clear intention that we should leave no one behind. And this ANC-led government will not leave anyone behind. We are going to make sure that we improve the lives of our people. We have faced many challenges in the past 30 years, but we have prevailed. In the past 5 years, we even face bigger challenges. Challenges, some were of our own making, but many of them were not of our own making. COVID-19 descended on us. The floods that engulfed this province, the Eastern Cape, Northwest, descended on us. And climate change continues to ravage many parts of our country. Yes, in the Western Cape, the fires that we continue to face. In the Eastern Cape, the drought and the floods. And in the Free State, the fires. And climate change has become a big issue in our lives, and it descended on us. We had the unrest in KZN and Gauteng, but much as the perpetrators of that unrest, whom we are still going to find and to prosecute, because we cannot let them get away with the murder of the people. They thought that they were instigating an insurrection. And they thought that many people in our country would join in. And as soon as the people of South Africa realized what was underway, they said, no, not in our name. We are going to defend our democracy. And that is exactly what they did. And then we had state capture. State capture weakened our institutions. State capture ravaged a number of areas of government, state-owned enterprises and government departments. But we were able to find out exactly how it had manifested itself, and we've rolled back state capture. We actually stopped it in its tracks. Bayatanda, Noma Batandi, we stopped state capture, and today we are rebuilding our institutions. Today we are repairing our institutions. Some of the institutions that were targeted were law enforcement agencies. The revenue service was also targeted, and they were about to go and loot treasury, and we stopped that as well. So comrades, we have been through a lot. as a people and as a nation. And the African National Congress has shepherded our country through all these challenges. And tomorrow we present a manifesto that is going to show the way to the future, when our people will have voted and have voted the ANC back into power again. We will implement the manifesto that we are going to announce tomorrow. It is a forward-looking manifesto. The National Executive Committee approved that clear manifesto in the early hours of this morning, and tomorrow we present it to our people. And the elements of that manifesto are based precisely on the testimonies that we were hearing. Because those who were testifying, the young people who were talking here were saying, move on, get on with the task, and continue transforming this country. And it is only the ANC that has the experience of governance. It is only the ANC that has the talent. It is only the ANC that has the capacity to take this country forward. Bayathanda noma abathandi, the African National Congress has that ability. And it is this that our people are going to declare, without any doubt, on the 29th of May in 2024. Siya kulolo khetho singenavalo, asisabi lutho, sithi mabeze, let them come, bazo sitola ngey 29, because our people are ready. Having been going around KZN, and members of the National Executive Committee have spent the past few days together with the provincial leadership going through the length and the breadth of the province. And they found nothing else but overwhelming support amongst our people for the African National Congress. Our Abantu base KZN, they love the ANC. And in more ways than one, this, as was said, is the home of the African National Congress. The ANC's first president came from this province. The people of KZN remember the leadership that was given by various leaders of the ANC, and they also see what the ANC has done to change their lives. And young people were talking here. As they stood here, they perform alapa. They were talking about the various things, from health to infrastructure, to their own education, to grants, Zabo Goko, and all that. They were talking about that. They forgot to mention Uguti, ipension Yabo Goko has gone up by a whopping 100 rand, as announced by the Minister of Finance. So, comrades, what the ANC has been able to do for our people in this country, as they were saying, is quite amazing. That is the reason why we're going forward to the 29th with great confidence, knowing that victory is certain. And that is why sisho ukuthi yebo siya okhethweni lolu singasabi lutho. And that is why sithi yebo mayihlome. sithi i-African National Congress sisonke as members and supporter sithi masihlome. Niyebasaba na.
Hayi, asibesabi, siyabafuna.
Niyebasaba na.
Hayi, asibesabi, siyabafuna.
Secretary General Sondela. Mayihlome.
Wathinta thina, wathinta bangasokufa, safaka phenduka, saphenduka ijebo.
Wathinta thina, wathinta bangasokufa, safaka saphenduka, saphenduka ijebo. Wathinta thina.
All right, that is ANC President Cyril Ramaphosa ahead of the ANC's Election Manifesto Launch, which will be taking place tomorrow at the Moses Mabhida Stadium. Of course, tonight, seeing him there addressing young people in Durban, of course, highlighting his narrative and, of course, the narrative around Tintswalo, also highlighting the amount of Tintswalos in that room. Basically, also they're previewing what many will be hearing tomorrow when he delivers the ANC's message for the next 5 years. Should the ANC retain its power as the ruling party in South Africa, highlighting a number of aspects there as well, unveiling and reaffirming the ANC's vision and mission for the party going forward. Also at the same time, talking about how young people's lives have been changed over the past 30 years, and also highlighting not just 30 years, also in the recent past, and saying that we have changed the lives of South Africans from what it was in 1994, and saying that they are committing themselves to sustaining the gains of the past few years. At the same time, saying that, when it comes to that manifesto, which many will be hearing tomorrow, it is a manifesto that they will commit into implementing.